Hello you guys, welcome back to my channel. You guys know the drill by now as to what video we are going to be doing. We are going to be using my TBR jar full of TBR prompts to pick books off of my TBR cart for the month of April this time. Right now with reading, I've kind of been in an interesting place. If I'm really enjoying a book, like I'm really enjoying it, but I feel like I'm losing interest very quickly in books. So I'll get halfway through and then I'm in the mood for a different book, so I'm just like starting a lot of books at once. And currently I'm in the middle of 4 books right now, which is honestly very overwhelming for me. So I'm really hoping that the month of April is where I kind of get out of that little weird slump. It's not even really a book slump. It's just like a weird like mood reading thing that I'm doing that I've just like never really done before. So hopefully the books that we pick for the month of April will help me out of this like weird reading limbo I'm in. Speaking of April, there are so many good new releases. If you know, you know, no matter what kind of books you read, what genres, whatever, you can think of at least one release you're probably excited about for the month of April. The 3 big ones that are really on my radar as of right now are Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Jimenez. This is getting released on April 1st, and I believe that this is interconnected in the Part of Your World little interconnected series with Part of Your World, Yours Truly, and Just for the Summer, and you guys know how I feel about that interconnected series. So I'm really hopeful that I'm gonna enjoy that one, and I love Abby Jimenez's writing. Another author that I absolutely love their writing, of course, is Emily Henry. I feel like every year whenever her new book comes out, everybody just goes crazy for it. This year she is releasing Great Big Beautiful Life, and it's going to be coming out on April 22nd. And this one is especially exciting for me because I am a big folklore girly, and of course whenever we're talking about folklore, we're talking about Folklore by Miss Taylor Swift. That is my favorite album by her and one of my favorite albums of all time. It is just so mesmerizing and like immersive, and I love the storytelling that she does with the album. And Emily Henry has come out saying that this book is based on The Last Great American Dynasty, which is a song off that album. So I am so excited. I also just saw so many people getting the ARC for it, and I am so jealous. If you got the ARC for it, like honestly, shout out to you. I am like genuinely so excited for you, and I hope you're loving it. Plus I've heard it's more women's fiction. It's a little bit different than what she writes, so that makes me excited too, because I've just been in loving more fiction-based books lately with more like subplots of romance. And then the other book that I'm excited for, but also a little bit nervous for, is the conclusion to the Powerless trilogy, which is Fearless by Lauren Roberts, and this is coming out on April 8th. You guys know I absolutely loved Powerless, which is the first book in the trilogy. I thought it was so good and just super fun and action-packed and just like a quick fantasy read, but it was also simple, and sometimes that is exactly what I am in the mood for. And I don't know if it was because I wasn't in the mood for it when I read the second one, Reckless, or if it was just too much of the same thing going on throughout the entire book. I found myself kind of just being pulled out of the story, not wanting to read it very much, and in my opinion the repetitiveness really just bogged the book down for me. So I don't know how I'm gonna feel about this one. Obviously it's going to be the conclusion of the story, so hopefully more is happening. I just don't really like the idea of a filler book. Like I just feel like it's very unnecessary, and that's what Reckless was. So really hopeful for Fearless, and that I'm hopefully going to enjoy it. Other than those books that I'll hopefully get to soon, I don't really have any specific books off of my TBR cart that I'm like really wanting to get to as of right now. You guys know that this year is a big year for me for finishing series and trying to read all the books on my 2025 TBR. When I'm thinking of finishing series, one that I really want to finish, which I'm very close to finishing, is the Skyward series by Brandon Sanderson. So I'm hoping that I'm gonna get to read the last one, Defiant, this month. And then as for my 25 books for 2025, I haven't updated this spread yet. That's something that I'm gonna be working on this week, and it's gonna be in a video coming soon. And I'll be honest, on this page I won't be doing that much updating because I think I've only read 1 book on it so far by the time that I've finished this video. I am in the middle of 2 other books though on this list, so that makes me feel a little bit better, but I do want to try and get quite a few on this list on my monthly TBR for the month. And I feel like I've just yapped for too long at this point, and I think we need to start picking prompts. So let's go ahead and pick prompt number 1. On the TBR for 6 months. Just from looking at this side of the TBR cart, there are definitely quite a few that have been on here longer than 6 months. Everything from the top row besides Onyx Storm and the X-Files. We can read Sorcery of Thorns, The Wishing Game, The Inheritance Games, Killer Instincts. Some of these I really don't remember when I got them, to be completely honest. I feel like it was around the 6-month mark, but I feel like I'm just gonna stick with the books that I know for a fact that have been on here longer than 6 months. Definitely The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue has been on here longer. Same with Renegades and Everything I Know About Love in 7 Days in June, which I definitely just realized that you guys cannot see. So love that, but just know, you know, they're down there. Go ahead, we can turn this guy around. These 5 right here can also be picked from, and then I also have The Nightingale down here. This is my mom's copy though. I just haven't given it back to her yet. It definitely hasn't been on here for 6 months, but I'm just saying that because if you see it, that's why it's down there. But if I do pick it, it's still eligible. I'm just gonna go buy my own copy, so it's kind of like a stand-in. I definitely want to try and pick one for my 2025 TBR. At this point, I'm in between Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. I've heard amazing things about this, and I just want to read this this as soon as possible. I've also been loving reading memoirs recently, so I feel like I'm really gonna enjoy this, and this is just perfect for like any girl in their 20s. That's what I've heard anyways about this book. I don't know, I think it's just time to read this one. I'm excited about it right now, so I feel as if that means something, and it just feels like it's time, you know? So the first book on our April TBR is gonna be Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. Let's pick our next prompt. By an author you love. Okay, that's always a fun one. I'm gonna push this back so you can see the bottom row a little bit better. I honestly have quite a few options that I could choose on here. I could choose to continue the Crescent City series, which I know this was on my February TBR. I just didn't end up getting to it, but I really want it to be on my radar because I really just want to be done with the whole Massiverse and be ready whenever the next book announcement and the book comes out, and not be like scrambling to continue the series or finish the books that I'm reading or feel like I'm in a rush. So that is definitely an option. I don't know if any of the books on here, maybe The Friend Zone by Abby Jimenez, but I'm already probably going to be reading an Abby Jimenez book this month, so I don't think I want to pick that one. I could do Tomorrow and Tomorrow and Tomorrow by Gabrielle Zevin. That's also in my 2025 for 2025, but I don't know if I would consider her an author I love. I have one book that I've read by her that was a 5-star read, but she's definitely not like an absolute favorite author yet. I could of course do Defiant by Brandon Sanderson. He's definitely an author that I've been loving. And I could do Firefly Lane by Kristen Hanna. I've been saying that I've wanted to wait until like spring, summertime to read this. I don't know why, it just gives me those vibes. But this past month I had a Kristen Hanna book on my TBR, and I feel like her books are just kind of heavy sometimes, and I just need to like space them out a little bit more. So I don't really want to put that commitment on myself right now because I know I'm probably going to sob my eyes out to that book. Could also do Deep End by Ellie Hazelwood. She has been one of my favorite authors since I really started reading. My favorite book by her is definitely Check and Mate, but I feel like as she's kept on writing, I haven't enjoyed her books as much. I think I'm just going to pick from these two. And as for what my reading's going to be looking like this month, I've got quite a few romances that I'm going to be reading. I think I'm going to go ahead and pick Defiant by Brandon Sanderson because I feel like this could get picked for any other prompt, and I have been wanting to read it and like see my thoughts on it, but if I'm leaving it up to chance, I would rather just pick a different genre right now than romance, since I'm gonna be reading so many other romances like I already said. So we are gonna go with Defiant, and hopefully this means that I'll be finishing the Skyward series in the month of April. I'm so excited. Finishing series again is such a big goal for me this year, so I'm really excited to be able to finish this series. And I've been absolutely loving like the sci-fi vibes of it all. Sci-fi is honestly like fantasy, just like think aliens, technology in space versus powers and magic systems, and it being on land and involving monarchies and stuff. It's kind of like refreshing in a way to read a sci-fi book because it is so similar to fantasy, but it's not like you're reading the same thing over and over again, which honestly, sometimes with fantasy, it can feel like that. So I'm really excited to conclude this series and eventually move on to his other books. So the second book on our TBR is going to be Defiant by Brandon Sanderson. Go ahead and pick prompt number 3. A Kindle Unlimited book. There honestly aren't that many books that are on my TBR cart right now that are on Kindle Unlimited, so I'm just gonna take this as kind of like a mood read choice, kind of like a free choice, a free space, if you will, on like a bingo card. And I think I'm gonna choose to continue the Boys of Tommen series. I'm currently reading Keeping 13. These are by Chloe Walsh, and the whole series is on Kindle Unlimited, and I know there's one coming out very soon to add to the series, and I just really want to continue it. They're very long, but they're very good and very character-based, and I feel like they're very CW 2000s-esque. I've actually compared this series to One Tree Hill so many times now, but that's just like the best way I can explain it because they're characters who are in high school, but they're going through so many like real life things, but there's also like an unseriousness level to some of the things that they're going through because they're in high school, but then it's also serious because of like the things they're going through. I'm currently 10% through Keeping 13, so I'm not that far into it, and these books are pretty long, so I don't know if I want to add the next book in the series to my TBR or this book. I think I might just add this one. I feel like if I add the next book, I might not end up getting to it, and since I've already started this one, I'm already 10% of the way through. I feel like this is actually like an achievable goal, and I'm really excited to keep reading the series. I've also been dying to read on my Kindle recently. I feel like reading an ebook is so nice sometimes, especially because I have my little clicker. I can just sit there with my clicker. I can eat a meal, I can eat a snack, I can drink a drink. And sometimes whenever you have a physical book, it's just not really like that. So book number 3 is going to be Keeping 13, which is the second book in the Boys of Tommen series by Chloe Walsh. Time for our next prompt. Set in a place that you've traveled to. Okay, I'll be honest, I'm not very well traveled because money, you know, that's why I read so much, because it's kind of like traveling for like $15 instead of traveling for like hundreds of thousands, you know? Or not hundreds of thousands, but hundreds or thousands. We can definitely rule out all the fantasy books, never been there. Kind of curious to see where Killer Instincts is set. It doesn't really say, let me search. Because it's probably set in like New York or California or something. If it's set in New York, we can read it. Ooh, okay. Okay, I actually have been here. It's actually set in Virginia in Washington, D.C. Which is pretty cool actually, because it's set there because of like Quantico and the FBI and stuff. I read the first one really long time ago, and I really want to finish this series. I've been wanting to finish series all year, like I've been saying, and I feel like I'm finally ready for thriller mysteries. So honestly, I think I might just pick this one, because kind of like everything I know about love, like I really know I want to read this and I'm excited for it right now, so I feel like I should just choose it since I feel that way. So the fourth book on our TBR is going to be Killer Instincts by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. Because I normally pick 6 books, we have 2 books to pick left, and honestly I'm feeling really good about the books that we've picked so far, especially with the wide array of genres that we have. We have a memoir, a sci-fi, a contemporary romance, and a mystery thriller. And I feel like whenever I have more different genres to read on my TBR for the month, I'm just like more likely to read the books, because I've just turned into such a big mood reader that it's really nice to have a ton of different genres to choose from. I think for these next 2 books, if I have a choice, I only want to try and pick one romance and maybe a literary fiction or a fantasy. But since 2 of the new releases that I'm really excited about are romance, and I really want to get to them because I feel like since they're so popular, they end up getting spoiled one way or another, because I be scrolling on TikTok and it just happens, unfortunately. So I try to read those as close to the published date as possible. Plus it's fun to read the book whenever you know so many other people are so excited about it and reading at the same time as you. And it's just like a fun way that like the book community connects. So I really like reading those whenever they come out. But who knows what we're gonna pick off here, because this thing really just does have a mind of its own. So let's go ahead and pick our 5th prompt. A 2-word title. We could pick Crescent City. We could just say it's Crescent City and not leave out the more specific title for the second book. But I feel like that's like cheating a little bit, so I won't do that. Summer romance. I could also pick Onyx Storm actually, which I've really been wanting to get to. I didn't love Iron Flame, but I really did enjoy Fourth Wing, but I also read that at the beginning of my reading journey, so I don't really know what I'm gonna think about this, and I feel like there was so many mixed reviews on it, honestly. So I want to know what I think. And this is also on my 2025 TBR, so this is definitely an option. Could also pick Deep End, like we talked about earlier, that I've been wanting to read. Checking the back, not really crazy in the mood for any of these, so I don't really want to pick those right now. I really don't know which one I want to choose. I do only have 1 sci-fi on here, and I really want to get to this. Let me see if it is on Spotify to listen to. Looking at both of these, they're both on my 2025 TBR. I just have no idea which one I want to choose. I'm almost tempted to pick Onyx Storm because, again, I've already talked about how I'm really excited for 2 romance releases, but at the same time, I'm really nervous to pick this one because I know that the audiobook of it isn't out yet, and I have a feeling if I'm having trouble pulling through, especially since these books are so long and I didn't love Iron Flame, it might be nice to like be able to hybrid read it. So I don't know if I'm like doing myself a disservice putting this on my TBR. I've brought in a guest. This is my husband Luke. Say hi.
Hi, guest appearance. I didn't know I was doing this tonight.
I didn't either until just now because I really just like don't know which one I want to choose.
Okay.
Luke has no idea what these are about. I'm just gonna have him pick by the cover. But my prompt was a 2-word title, and both of these are good options. I just don't know which one to pick really. So which one would you pick for me?
I mean, I am a swimmer, so I mean, Deep End, is that about swimming?
It is about swimming.
Let's go. Let's do that one.
Okay, so I'm gonna choose Deep End by Ellie Hazelwood for my next one, and then I'm also gonna have you pick a prompt out of the jar because I'm not gonna lie, I have not been able to pick them out recently, and I pick out like 5 at a time, and it's just been kind of annoying. So he's gonna pick our next prompt too, our final prompt.
And it is, drumroll please, YA.
A YA book.
See, a less informed husband would have said yeah.
I was actually, when I was looking at it, I was like, I wonder what he'll say for that. I wonder if he'll be confused. Thank you for picking that. I'm gonna pick my book now.
Oh, yep.
You gonna say bye?
See you later, everyone.
Okay, since Luke ended up picking the romance of the 2, I kind of want to choose a YA fantasy, and the one that instantly comes to mind is The Gilded Cage by Lynette Noni. I've really wanted to continue this series, and this is the second book in the Prison Healer trilogy. I absolutely loved the first one. I could also pick The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes, but I don't want to start another series right now. I want to continue series that I'm reading. So that one's going back on the shelf. As for everything else, I don't really see any other YA on here that isn't starting a new series, so I don't really think that I want to do with that, because I could do Go the Distance or Curse of the the Wolf King, but that's starting a new series, and I just don't want to do that. And from the looks of the back of the cart, same thing. None of these are even YA besides the Percy Jackson series, but I'm just not ready to start that yet. So it looks like The Gilded Cage by Lynette Noni is going to be on the TBR this month. I'm really excited, and I just absolutely love the cover. Like, if you put a dagger on the cover, I'm just going to eat it up every single time. The first one left us off on such a huge cliffhanger, so I'm really interested to see like where we're going to go next. And yeah, I don't know. I've just been waiting for this to be on the TBR to read it for some odd reason. So this is our 6th and final book on the TBR. I just picked all 6 of the books that are going to be on our April TBR, so let's go ahead and do a quick recap. The first prompt that I chose was on the TBR for 6 months, so I chose Everything I Know About Love by Dolly Alderton. The second prompt was by an author that I love, so I chose a book by Brandon Sanderson. This book is Defiant, and it's the last book in the Skyward series by him. Then I chose a Kindle Unlimited book, and I chose Keeping 13 by Chloe Walsh, which is the second book in the Boys of Tommen series. My fourth prompt was set in a place that I've traveled to, so I chose Killer Instincts by Jennifer Lynn Barnes because it is held in Virginia and Washington, D.C., and I surprisingly have been there. Then I chose a 2-word title, and Luke helped me choose Deep End by Allie Hazelwood. And then our 6th and final prompt was a YA book, and I chose The Gilded Cage by Lynette Noni, which is the second book in the Prison Healer trilogy. Okay, they're all 6 of the books that are going to be on my April TBR. Let me know if you guys have read these, if you want to see them in reading vlogs, or if you have any thoughts on these books, go ahead and leave them down below in the comments and we can chat about it down there. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe if you did enjoy this video, and go ahead and comment down below the jar emoji so I know who the real ones are who watched until the very end. If you want to keep up with me on the daily, go ahead and follow my Instagram, my TikTok, and my Goodreads. I'm always updating on all of those platforms, and they are always linked down below in every single video. And I think that is it for today's video. I love you guys so much. Hope you're having an amazing day, and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye guys. There's a siren going off. We shall wait just a minute then. Pepsi, if you watch until the end, I'm obsessed with your 0 sugar wild cherry Pepsis. Please, as the siren is going off, sponsor me. Like, see, I can even do that. If you want to keep up our seventh, who, what? Oh my god, how many sirens are gonna go off in the like 5-minute time span it takes for me to start filming this video? I love it.
Eyelash. Run your video.
Classic. Ow.
Sorry.